Hello, everyone. Welcome along to Under the Hood today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Daz, and we've got Louise, of course.
Hi,
here.
everyone.
How's it going? Now, we've got a little bit of a special edition of Under the Hood today. It's going to be a little bit different. Today, we've got Jutta from GF Smith, who is based in London, who has pre-recorded for us a bit of a presentation. So that's a little bit different. But then we also have Janine and Linda from Paper Source here, who can take care of the question and answers portion of that event. We've also got Peter Radich, who's going to be sharing one of his design projects. So that's all really good. But before we kick off, just a few messages from us. First of all, we do have a few workshops coming up over the next few weeks. Particularly next week and the following week, we have the
digital
design accessibility. Oh God, mind blank. That was terrible. Digital accessibility for designers with Chandra. So do have a look at that. Christchurch is next week. So if you're keen to come along, please do register for that one. And Auckland is the week following. So that one's coming up really soon. And then in Wellington on the 16th of June, we have No Signal Found, which is about creating campaigns without the need of television. And that's with Chrissy from Strategy. And there are a couple of places left on Johnson's Designing a Culturally Authentic Aotearoa happening up here in Auckland, also on the 16th of June. So just, yeah, I think there's only 2 places left on that one. So if you can jump in, come along for that one, it'll be a great day. Anything else from us, Louise?
Just a little save the date that we'll have the pub quiz happening this year in Auckland. So that's going to be coming up in the 1st or 2nd week of July. So watch out for more information about that too.
It'll be coming up very soon. All right, well, without much further ado, we'll get Jutta's presentation underway. Now, you'll have to just forgive me while I muck around for 2 seconds because it is a video, just to get that up and running. But yeah, enjoy. And as I say, we've got the question and answer box open. So if you do have any questions that come up during Jutta's presentation, do pop them in there and we'll put them to Janine and Linda once the presentation is done. And we'll have a bit of a chat then. So here we go. Let me get this sorted.
Hello, my name is Jutta from GF Smith, and I'm delighted to be here today and talk to you about our World's Favorite Color project. So thank you, Louise and the team from Design Assembly to invite us, because they invited us to talk here today. And I hope that I can bring you some insights into what this color study for us meant. So the whole thing started a couple of years back when we were looking for a birthday color for Kellerman, our brand. We found out that Kellerman was celebrating its 80th birthday because the first color of Kellerman, Baghdad Brown, was launched in 1936. And so we thought, oh, let's do a birthday color, but we couldn't really decide what color to do. And we asked everybody that we could think of, but they couldn't really decide either. So at some stage over a beer, we got the idea that, well, we're living in a digital world. We could crowdsource a color. Why not? Nobody had ever tried that before. And we thought that was a jolly good idea. So what we did was we just formulated a very simple question, which was unrelated to GF Smith and unrelated to Kellerman. We just asked people, what is your favorite color? And that question had been asked many times before, and in the various surveys that had been done, it was usually blue was the answer. And we thought, well, if it is blue, could be blue, then we wanted to be a bit more discerning about it. We wanted to find out what kind of blue it is. And so our agency MaidSort in London came up with this really cool website, which was just called worldsfavouritecolor.com. And when you went into that, basically, wherever you moved your cursor, the background color changed. And it went from white all the way down to black, and then all the colors that the RGB system gives us in between. And eventually, when you had found the color of your dream, then you would click on it. We would ask you to confirm that this is indeed your favorite color. And then we wanted to know a few things. We wanted to know your name. We wanted to know your gender, your year of birth. Well, I must say a lot of people lied at that point. We had 1880 and all sorts of things coming up here. Your email address to validate the entry. And then basically, as a bit of a joke initially, why this color? So the reason why we wanted to have that information was also because we thought it might be a really good idea to get a bit of data on color. So as you can see here, this was a live feed of people participating. We had 27,000 participants altogether. And whilst they were participating, we had some metadata running. And the metadata basically told us where they were, what time it was, what the weather was like, and how long it took them to choose the color. And basically what we wanted to find out is it true that in Alaska, people like all shades of white? And in India, they're all like really vibrant colors. And, you know, we kind of thought if the weather is nicer, do people feel more positive? But all this metadata, after hours and hours of looking at it and trying to evaluate it, actually proved out to be, yeah, not very insightful at all. But what we had was we had this 27,000 people that had participated. The dots here that you see was always the name and then the favorite color. So mine would have been Jutta blue. And basically at the end of it, what we did, we analyzed, first of all, the various countries. So what is a favorite country, the favorite color for New Zealand, for example? And this is it. Pretty nice, I would say. So we went and had a look at what your neighbor Australia had voted for, and that's a bit surprising, isn't it? It's almost identical to the favorite color in New Zealand. And when we then analyzed the whole world together to come up with what is the world's favorite color, that was it. Mars green, not a million miles away from where Australia and New Zealand was as a country. And it was called after Annie Mars, who basically was in the center of all the dots surrounding the popularity of this color. And we named the color after her. So we had all this. We had our 51st color in the color plan range. We had the birthday color. We didn't have any results or any insights regarding the metadata that we had running, but we did have all these little sayings, you know, these, what we asked people for is, why do you like this color? And we were wondering if there was a correlation between words, emotions, and colors. And so what we did was we looked at words like calm and calming. And we were quite astonished to see that, you know, although some people used the word calm in the sayings and other the word calming, that the colors were almost identical. And one thing I've got to explain here to you as well is these blocks of colors, so the rectangles, the sizes of that, they're not random. This is academically verified data as to the percent, and they show you the percentile of people that like the blue versus the whitish color versus the turquoise. Yeah, and that is applying to everything that I'm showing you in these slides from now on. So anyway, we were pretty astonished at what we found here. So we said, okay, let's go a step further. And we had a look at peace and peaceful. So some people used the word peace, others the word peaceful. And the colors were almost identical to calm and calming. So we went a step further and we looked at relaxed and soothing. And I think at that time we realized, oh my God, we really seem to have an immense insight here, you know, into that there is in fact a relationship between how people feel and their favorite color. So at this point we shouted for help, and we certainly needed it. We went to Sussex University. There is Professor Anna Franklin, who is one of the world's leading color psychologists, and she basically had a look at what we found, and she said, oh my God, this is amazing what you have done. Just from trying to get a birthday color 2. This is the largest, biggest study that has ever been done on color in the world. 27,000 people, nobody had ever had that many people participate. She was bowled over by the whole thing and agreed straight away to go and do some work with us on this, so that we could in fact in the end publish a book with her. So we have got loads and loads of these color, emotion, word relationships, but I just show you a few. Now, for us here, you know, I get this positivity, this feeling of optimism straight away when I see this. But at the moment, you know, with us being in lockdown and all that, I don't think anybody up here really feels that. Whereas you guys in New Zealand, you're so fortunate that you can more or less lead a normal life. So maybe you still have that sort of, you know, that feeling and of optimism when you see these colors. We had some really interesting word combination and colors as well. So this was one for art. Orange came up with associations like art and creativity. That will be important later on. And that's my favorite one. That's moody. I really like that color. It's a really beautiful color range. So we had all this data. We also have beautiful color combinations in the whole thing, but we did think it would be good to do a cross check on us. So what we did is we took the corporate color of some companies and basically related that RGB back to words that had been chosen to describe that in our color study. And here's one from Siemens, German technical company. And I think they would be very pleased to know that at the moment, contemporary, people associate that particular color with words like idea, different, and wonderful. And just, we did a lot of these, but just one more because you'll all know it, Coca-Cola. So the associations with that particular red was bold, confident, and passionate. So I think both companies would be really pleased. And for us, it was a bit of security that, you know, we are actually onto something here. So as I said, Professor Anna Franklin decided to go and publish a report with us. And it was designed by MaidSword, our agency in London that does everything to do with color plan for us. But it goes far and beyond all the outcome of the study that we had done. You know, we have got essays in there by Anna Franklin about, you know, past research and what has been done. We were able with some colors to distinguish the color by gender preference or different ages. We also have sort of essays about the role of color in context. Interesting associations as well with words like sustainability or non-profit organizations. I love those. And yeah, and there we are. So there is a website. It is called worldsfavouritecolor.info, and you can purchase the color report there. It's not cheap. It costs about £175. It did cost us a bucket load of money to do all this. And so there is a value attached to it. And maybe if you're in a smaller studio, maybe a few of you can kind of, you know, chip in together if you want to buy it. You can also contact Paper Source, our distributor in New Zealand, to get these as well, of course. I'll talk about that later. So what we had now is we had 51 colors in our color plan range, and we always had a symmetry in the numbers and the colors. It was always 50 colors and 25 embossings, and we liked that. And this 51 kind of bugged us a bit, you know. So what we decided to do is launch 4 new colors. And now that we had the color report, we thought, well, this is absolutely brilliant. We can just use crowdsourced colors. We look at what are the most popular colors in the tone of yellow and orange and whatever else where we felt that color plan could do with some extension. And I've got a little film here for you that I want to share, which was done to launch this project.
No way of
Yeah, and here we are. Chartreuse, the first color, sits between yellow and green and is named after a French herbal liqueur, which has exactly that color. Slate is a new gray, and that in fact was something that we did need in the color plan range. The grays that we had were, they were slightly greenish, and this one is a really, really clean gray. It was the world's favorite color project, most popular gray, same as chartreuse was the most popular tone of yellow. Hot pink, also the most popular pink, and we named that after one of the guys that helped us launch this project, a very famous fashion designer from London called Osman Yousefzadeh, and his favorite color was hot pink. And then the last one, rust, that was the most popular orange. And as I said before, this was associated with words like design, creativity, art. So I think it befits that range very well, and also the target group. So there we were. So we pronounced it all on our social media that we had these colors, as we always do. I don't know whether you do follow us on Instagram or on Twitter yet, but if not, it might be fun to do that, because there's always a lot coming up, a lot of news being told. So this is what the range looks like now, 55 colors. And I think it's a beautiful composition of colors, and every color matches every color. And we also do duplexing and triplexing. And I know that Janine and the team from New Zealand, they also now have a laminating machine, so they can offer that straight from down there. And then you've got on top of that 25 embossings to choose from. So it's a really nice range. To launch that, we did that in our show space in London. We had art installations like this to go and broadcast the new color. Now, because of lockdown, of course, this is closed, and we have actually decided to move with our show space to a new location. So watch this space for news on that, so that when we can travel again, you can come to London and have a look-see at it. So that you guys can actually work with this, we have got some lovely swatches, and we always had that left swatch there, the mini swatch we call it, with the 2 dots, but we wanted to come up with something whereby the new introduction of colors would basically just add it on. And Made Thought again came up with a wonderful design here, whereby they made a second booklet, and the two are put together just by that sheet of translucent paper, transparent paper. So you don't need any glue or staples or anything like that. And then you have got one book that has got it all, the 4 new colors from one side and the 51 colors from the other. And those of you that haven't got that already, you can go and get in touch with Paper Source, our exclusive distributor down in New Zealand. They sit in Wellington, and the ladies there will be ever so pleased to help you with swatch materials and samples and things like that. Yeah, and that's basically it from me. So I hope you enjoyed this. There will be a question and answer session after this, and the ladies from Paper Source will be answering your questions. I have got one that I want to talk about in a minute, but if you want to follow us, if you like what you saw, then these are all our social media addresses. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry I chickened out and didn't get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to be with you, but I hope you forgive me. And that's it. Thank you. And then in the question and answer session,
we'll end that one there because we do have Janine and Linda here from Paper Source. So welcome both of you. Now I can see your microphone's still on mute there if you just want to take that.
There we go.
Hi.
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 Right. So the question and answers are open for those of you who are listening along. If you do want to pop any in there following Jutta's presentation. But while you take some time to do that, Janine and Linda, do you just want to introduce yourselves and tell us about Kellerman and everything you do? And Paper Source, sorry.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Janine. I'm the General Manager here at Paper Source. We are based down in Wellington and we're a smaller paper merchant, but we do the finer papers. We try to source those difficult papers or specialty papers that you really want something different and unique. And that's how we've built our relationship with GF Smith. So we are their agents here in New Zealand. So any of their products we can bring in, special orders and things like that. And yeah, we also represent several other paper and bookbinding and book cloth material places around the world. And yeah.
Well, I'm Linda, and whilst Janine runs the place, I'm a backup, I think is the best way to put that. My role here is to really facilitate our customers' requests and to guide them on particular projects or products that they're looking for. And it's a lot of fun. We represent a great company in GF Smith here in New Zealand, and they're great to work with. And I think most of our designers that we work here with in New Zealand love getting packages from GF Smith, I'm sure. They're certainly worth hanging on to. And we often get requests from designers that have kept a library over the years with various swatches looking for updates. And that's really what we do. We're a small company, a lot of fun, love what we do, love the people we work with. And it's a real bonus, really is.
That's fantastic. And so just a couple of questions to start off with. In Jutta's presentation, she mentioned that the Colour Project book. Do you have that in stock here in New Zealand?
We've got a few copies available here in New Zealand. We can also send you the links for buying it online, and they send it out from the UK once we've run out of those copies. But yeah, if you are interested, come to us first. We can get them to you a lot quicker than coming over from the UK at the moment with the lack of flights.
Yeah, perfect.
And does it have kind of all of the data and the information about the project in the book, or is it more visual? Or
it is actually a really interesting read. It's presented beautifully. It has all the data and it has all the visuals, really does, all the colour diagrams that you would love to work with. Yeah. So yeah, the front of it's a great read, and the big 75% of it is all about colour.
So it'll give you ideas of, I don't know if you can read that, but you've got the,
fantastic. The
colours of cheerful, and it'll give you the idea, the 3 colours that they've come up with from that, and then uplifting, and you can sort of compare where people think is cheerful and what is uplifting, and if that's the image your project desires, you can see what people out there are actually thinking of these colours, and some of them are quite surprising. One that I found surprising was calming and sort of the yoga studio type of vibe, and everyone would have thought whites, and it actually came out that dark blues were quite a lot in there as well. And it's sort of an idea that gives you more information about what people actually associate with these words.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. So it sounds like a great tool for, as you say, working with your colour choices for your projects and your clients. Definitely got me interested.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah.
That's great. And just a bit of a practical question. Do you carry the full range of colour plan in your office? Do you have that all here?
Yeah, so Kellerman is quite an extensive range with 55 colours. We carry the full range in both a 135 GSM and then a 270 GSM. Plus, with our laminating abilities, we can go up to 540 GSM, 810 GSM, 1050 GSM, 1400 GSM. So there's a lot of options there. The full range, there are 8 weights and there are 25 embossing textures that you can get done on these. Obviously, that just makes about 10,000 different individual items. So we can't obviously hold them all here in stock, but we do bring in regular orders. We can bring them in by sea freight or air freight, and we'll get them to you as soon as we can.
And the other little bonus to that, we have quite a low minimum order quantity for those embossing papers, 25 standard sheets. So that's your 640, 970 sheet. So we do the small jobs as much as we like to do the big jobs. We really, you know, can do those little ones as well. And they're often quite important to clients because I guess it's a sign of the time. The big jobs aren't as common as they used to be. We're seeing smaller and smaller runs, and I'm sure our designers could comment on that too.
And just in terms of the lamination, that just from a technical point of view again, so is that putting like the stocks together to create a heavier weight?
Yes,
Correctly.
so it's used through a gluing system. You put a layer of glue over one page, stick the second page to it, roll it down, leave it under weights, and that will automatically double the thickness. You do like to like, so we quite often get a lot of requests for 270 GSM laminated together, and that creates the 540 GSM.
And then you can do those lovely business cards that all designers like with the beautiful colour plan colours. And
we've also been getting a lot of requests for the triplexing, which is 3 layers, and so that way you can have colour on either side and then a sandwich colour in the middle.
Oh,
So depends how thick you want to go.
The only trap in there for young players is we don't recommend the 135 GSM for lamination. And the main reason it's so light, the weight, that you can get some curl in it. So generally it's the heavier weights, the board weights that we're laminating, 270 GSM and 350 GSM to create those lovely laminated products that we're talking about.
Excellent. Thank you for answering those questions.
Fantastic. And we haven't had any other questions come in from everyone else. So thank you, Linda and Janine, for sharing with us.
Yeah, great.
But now we'll move on to Peter, who's back online here. Hi, Peter. How are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Good, good. All right. Well, we won't bother with much of introduction for you. We'll let you do that yourself. So if you're ready to go, do you want to jump on in and
no worries. No worries. Thanks very much. So I'm Pete. I have been asked by Paper Source pretty much to work through a case study, or at least take you through a project that we worked on a while ago, which is a very premium, rare 29 plus UMF honey. And I've got a presentation here which I can share with you. Right. So this piece of work was done and couldn't have been done really without, I guess, a team of people around that really brought it together, including Paper Source, another guy, Dave from Logic Print, that was immense in terms of the amount of engineering and quality that he brought to the project. We had some amazing clients, and this project was undertaken with a design company that I owned previously with a creative, Tom Lear. So combination of things, but so what we were asked, the client came to us and they were in a position, they are a Bay of Plenty honey supplier and producer. They have their own hives. They're a family business. They're really driven around kind of total care from start to finish of the honey business. And they came to us with essentially one drum of very rare, high potency UMF Manuka honey. And I'm sure that many designers would have seen over the last couple of years, honey has become an absolute goldmine for amazing packaging, but also just its presence in terms of the marketplace. So the whole, I guess the brief was really around delivering to this really premium quality honey, and it needed to bring through a story that one was authentic, but two was also really played up the New Zealand perspective, because it was going to be an overseas product mainly. And then as well as that, we really needed to work through that kind of gifting and unboxing experience that creates the overall effect. And that was a big part of this project. So a little bit of backstory was around just bringing that, that kind of story, that authentic story to life. And really it was just understanding the kind of the elements that come together, that kind of combination of nature and nurture that comes together in a kind of a unique way to create this really high value, high UMF product. So the kind of the final, I guess, resting place in terms of the creative direction was around this idea that it was a honey so rare it may never be made again. And 4 elements all came together to help create this honey. And that was then followed through in the 4 sides of the packaging. And this was all kind of brought to you by the family business, nurtured and crafted. So there was a real need to bring through craft and that strong tactility, and also a number of other elements. So the sides of the box all bring through a story, and they relate to these 4 elements, essentially this idea of time, place, climate, and of course the bees themselves. And in this circumstance, that tied in really nicely because the BNZ logo had a bee front and center. So it gave us a really nice opportunity to be able to bring through their branding and the story. So I'll show some visuals later, but as we work through it, each of the faces essentially had an icon that related to these elements, and then a number of more subtle elements that helped bring that story to life. And then when you lifted the box and pulled the base out, the story was displayed on the faces. So this was the kind of the idea. It really came down to these kind of nature and nurture elements that come together to create this amazing honey. And early on, we went through a number of phases of concept, looking at, in this circumstance, was there a way in which we could recreate the hive kind of aspect? Was there an unboxing scenario where you were able to pull out leaves that were informational, and the jar and those type of things? This was presented. It didn't really work because it felt like it was potentially a little bit safe. On the other end of the scale was really pushing the level of finishing and crafting. So one of the ideas that we had here was to create almost a high-end whiskey wine box. And then when you lifted the top off, there were a series of rings that the story spelt out or read out as you went down. And although in visual it looked amazing, you can imagine in terms of production, either wooden rings and metal and those type of things, plus the idea that it may need to be, or was likely to be sent offshore. It just didn't really work in terms of budgetary constraints. So then, as the 4 elements story really started to come together more and more, we started to look at the individual leaves and how the boxing and the unboxing process might happen. And one of the things that we did really love was this idea that you could take the lid off and create a opening experience that almost enhanced the honey in the middle on this kind of pedestal idea. And in the early days, we'd even had a look at potentially having the honey in a hand-blown glass that made it really good in terms of that kind of tactility and naturalness. But again, a number of aspects with the honey and keeping the quality intact in terms of shipping made that a little bit untenable. So further design development led us further into this area where we started to bring together a number of the little icons, and then surrounding the icons within the paper texture, we had some kind of embossing and debossing elements. And you can now see that the idea that we've got to within the actual base element was more of a flower representation. So we wanted something to flow through that would really represent the Manuka honey flower itself. And this idea that you were unboxing a kind of an unexpected golden glow really came through. And certainly in the early phases, we had been looking at colour meaning, certainly for the kind of end purchasers, what the colour meant for them. Also, what was that colour connection to New Zealand, that strong green forest colours, lots of associations with luck and wealth and those type of things overseas with our real strong natural connection, and including potentially the gold. And that was always an interesting one, is what was the feeling of the gold, making sure that it felt rich without being gaudy. And I guess this was probably the point when we started to consider finishes and textures where paper source, and in particular the colour plan and extract range, kind of came into focus, working with Dave, our printer. And one of the things that I really liked in this aspect was the colour plan range, and the extract has a number of micro embossings. So the package itself, very similar to this image in the top right, has some very fine micro embossing, which is called colt skin, but actually is very reminiscent of everything from kind of shapes that the wind might make in terms of wind patterns or bush or brush. It's a really nice kind of moving texture to it. So a number of these things, we really like the idea of bringing through multiple finishes. So the box itself has embossing, foiling, blind debossing, as well as a number of other things. And so yeah, that's all of these things coming through. I know that there's a lot of copy there, but basically at every stage we considered how does it look? How does it feel? What's the experience I'm getting out of it? And then on top of that, we needed to also make sure that we were covering off, plenty of practicalities. How does it transport? How does the honey sit? What is the movement like? And there's a number of other elements that go with it, a little book, a spoon, and a number of things like that. So here it is in production. We went and sourced specifically some glass products out of the UK or Europe via Australia, and they were specifically chosen because of the amount of light that is let into the product. The less light, obviously, the less degradation of the honey. And this is really the end product here. So what we end up having is a four-sided shape with our stories as the box is pulled out. And then when it pulls out, we opened up into this full gold foil laminate with a little pedestal that holds the jar, and the jar was direct printed in gold as well to match. And then we've got a number of elements that hold everything in place. We've got a little booklet that comes with it, a number of labels. We developed a little collar that helped the hand-tooled spoon stand up. And then once all of those kind of leaves fold up and come together, everything's held in place. So that was kind of, so here we can see, hopefully you can see the quality of your screens. So you can see our icons that come through and represent time. And we've got a number of kind of debossing elements that continue to tell that story. Time, place, climate, and our honeybees. And this idea that we carried through, Manuka honey so rare it may never be made again, was part of the theme that flowed through. And so, as you can see there, this was how it unfolded. So in this circumstance, the front cover, it has our 29 plus and a number of things, but as you start to lift and unbox, the story comes through. So in this circumstance, we're talking about, you know, the dance of the honeybees and those type of things, and some really nice creative writing from my creative partner at the time, Tom. And yeah, looking down on it, you can see the overall kind of effect that you got mimicking the Manuka honey flower. And this is, you can start to see some of the actual micro embossing now, and it just gives this really nice kind of unexpected tactility to it. But, you know, you can see it's almost wave-like and those type of things. There's some really nice elements coming through. And these are some of the other various parts to it. So the product itself has actually been printed to a very darkish, almost blackish green. So we took one of the extract colors and then working with a printer, we did numerous color printing, overprinting until we were happy with the color. And then each of the elements came together. So some of the little labels themselves, they're self-adhesive and they're a color plan product, but we were able to overprint and color match. Well, Dave and his team at Logic and his wider team were absolutely amazing, working through all of these finer details. And so within the package itself, there was a little hidden booklet, again, and a hand-tooled brass spoon in a gold color that came through. And so this was an extra piece that really helped deliver the story, deliver that crafted aspect. It is hand-stitched, hand singer-stitched, printed color matched, and then also another one of the extract products. And so you can see, you know, individually hand numbered, foil finished, and a number of other things like that. And with the, I guess, with the extract product or the moon, it's not a white, so it gave the images a really nice natural tone to it. And I guess just very briefly to finish, I certainly want to thank the people that were involved. There was an amazing group of people that came together. Obviously, the client, David Logic Print is amazing. I can't recommend him enough. My old creative partner, and then a few of the others that were involved in the glass printing. Also the team that put it together. I don't think you can quite underestimate how big a job it is to put 1,200 of these hand-finished, handcrafted boxes together. And that took them a number of weeks, and you can imagine what that was like. So if I finish up there, so in effect, after I've presented that, this is the kind of the rough size, a number of elements. And as you can see, as I just lifted up, each of the story elements came, and the unboxing then, this was kind of essentially how it all works and opens up. And so you get the really nice golden glow with the various elements. So yeah, an absolute labor of love, but also one that really couldn't have happened without, I guess, just that combination of all of the right people with the right skills doing the right things.
There you go. Wow, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that, Pete. That was
no worries.
Really in depth. So in terms of some questions and answers, again, if you're out there listening and you would like to ask a question, do type it into the questions box and we will ask it out loud. And we've had some come in. So the first one's come from Rosie, who first of all just says how gorgeous, and I think we all echo that. Yep. How long was the process from brief to delivery?
Oh, truly, I would say it would have been somewhere between, for final delivery, I think would have been looking between 12, potentially 12 to 16 months. It was quite a long journey, at least 12 months from initial meeting to delivery. And I think in part, a lot of that was quite a bit of unknown to start with in terms of the brief, and doing a lot of work around what you can and can't do, and sending it offshore, and for myself, learning those things. And then in terms of production, countless amounts of paper and samples back and forth. Then I would say in terms of that, Linda, on top of that, just the sending, because paper was being sourced out of Europe. Is that correct? Out of Europe? Yep. With the micro embossing, even the jars. So I found the jars in Europe. There was an Australian distributor, but they didn't have the volume we needed. So I was able to actually, I basically begged and pleaded. And so what they did was they essentially approached one of their clients with volume. So they stored for other people, other large cosmetics companies, and basically took their stock. So I kind of begged and pleaded to get their stock, and then we ordered for them to replenish. So, you know, there was another kind of 6 or 8 weeks of, you know, negotiation and delivery and those type of things. What else could I say? Oh, even working with Dave and his team, we were ready to press go. We went along to one proofing session, you know, ready to do a huge amount of the foiling for one piece. And he wasn't happy with a minute scrap of additional foil in one place. So new block, he wasn't happy. You know, to have people like that with that kind of, I guess, skill and craft, you could easily fall into a trap many times where you'd be like, oh yeah, she'll be right, or it's good enough, you know. So I think, yeah, it was over 12 months, There were some times where I didn't sleep thinking about it. But I think the end result is, you know, even when it was finally out, there was, I guess, that kind of, is it going to work, or is it good enough? And then, you know, some of that recognition, local recognition, and certainly the Pride in Print for Dave, and getting the AGDA distinction was amazing for us, yeah, and for the client and for everyone, really.
And how's it gone in the marketplace? Do you know?
That's an interesting one, because in essence, it is a product that is not going to be on New Zealand shelves. It is a high-end gifted product, and it was being shipped mostly offshore. So, you know, your Asian countries and Middle Eastern countries. I recently touched base with the client just to double check, and they've said they're really happy with where things are at. I don't know what numbers that means. There was 1,200 units, but where that means, I'm not too sure. But yeah, amazing feedback. But either way, I think they've done all right. It was a quality product with a quality price tag, but they'll do all right.
Yeah. Do you know what the final sort of retail price of the product was?
In terms of a retail, we were led to believe it was closer, somewhere between the 1,500 to 2,000 per unit.
Wow.
I mean, if there's comparative stuff in the market at the moment, True Honey, you know, they've got the Harrods and some of those honeys, and at that top level of the honey, it's amazing. But yeah, that was the kind of the price point, was somewhere in that ballpark. Again, you know, it was likely never to be eaten or consumed in that kind of way. It was very much about, look at what I've got, showing or gifting, especially in some of the Asian society, the idea of being able to give a very high value gift to a high value client, and whether someone actually ever put it on toast, I would very much doubt it.
What bread would you pair that with?
yeah, exactly. Probably someone that imports their bread too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much you can necessarily tell us, but we have had a question from Barry, who's just said, in terms of the unit cost of the printed box and the jar and that side of things, can you give us?
All told, it was north of $100 a unit, which I don't know where that kind of fits relatively, but I think in total, what have we got? We have got 1, 2, 3, 4. It totals about 8 different pieces that come together in various sizes, with a couple of different. Well, everything is craft and bespoke, basically. You know, including the little hand tooled spoons and those type of things. So yes, certainly not a project that you go into it thinking there's a bottom line cost, and that's where the client came in. That trust from the client to get it right, not right now or for the least amount of money. Yeah.
It's just incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's just
no worries.
Almost speechless.
I'm very pleased to be able to kind of get on here, and especially after seeing the other little presentation. I'd seen that colour project and those type of things, and I know I've been asked to present, but I personally I love the colour plan and the extract, and I've been working with these guys for a while. I've done another 2 or 3 projects, including another honey project, specifically using their colours and those type of things. So for me, it was very easy.
That's great. Right. Well, just before we wrap up, we'll just shout out to those listening. If you do have any last questions, do pop them in that question and answer box. But just to give you sort of 30 seconds to do that, if you do have a question. Just a little update from us is, so we are going to take a break from doing Under the Hood next month. So we won't have one in June, but we will have some more later in the year. So we are keen to hear from you if you either have a project that you would like to share, or maybe you'd like to nominate a project for someone to share. Do get in touch with us, because we would love to hear from you guys, what's out there, and hear your stories. So do get in touch with that. Other than that, as we said at the top of the event, there's a few workshops coming up. So do jump online, have a look at those, and then sort of in June, July as well as the pub quiz coming up at the beginning of July, we'll be starting to release the program for the rest of the year, with some more workshops all around the country, and other social events towards the end of the year as well. So do keep an eye out for that coming out in the next little month or so.
And just a big thanks again to Peter and Paper Source and GF Smith. It's been great to have a paper focused Under the Hood event. Designers are all obsessed really with paper and colour and all of these finishes, so it's quite a nice event to bring all of those aspects together and come together to kind of as design nerds really on these products. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you again to our presenters. It's been a great little event, and we'll see you out there.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Bye. See everyone.
Thank you.